All right, welcome everyone back to LRC. We're at round 7 at Mount Panorama, the final race of the season. We'll be starting the race this week with a sprint race. 8 laps around Mount Panorama. Mount Panorama being one of the most challenging courses of the season. The whole track being essentially half up the mountain with 23 corners, total length of 6 kilometers around the track. We got, looks like 9 cars today. We got a relatively light grid. The championship already clinched by, I believe, Riley already. So congratulations to Riley for winning the Division 2 title. Today's race will be, across both divisions, will be a battle for the team championships across divisions 1 and 2. I believe the overall team championships has been also secured by our Lotus Ford team. Currently entering this week with 414 points. That is a whole, 63 points ahead of our second place team, Minority Ford. Then we got McLaren in third place with 303 points. Footwork Mugen with 286, sitting in fourth place. Benetton Ford in fifth with 210. And then we have Ligier Renault in last place with 166 points. Our starting grid looks like it will be Sneak at pole position with our reverse championship order. So Sneak will start in pole position for our sprint race. Again, it will be 8 laps around Mount Panorama, and then we will soon have our feature race for Division 2 followed by a qualifying session, and then our feature race followed by the feature race. So it actually looks like Dip will be starting from pole position. Sneak will be in second. We have Nixon starting from third place. Kilpro's fourth. Happy Hippo is starting from fifth. Kip Dunkel sixth. Dinosaur seventh. And then Cecil Turtle eighth. And Backmarker Racing in starting from ninth place. How's it going, Accession? All right, we're off. The lights are out and the action starts now. We have Dip on the inside there, starting with a poor traction off the line. Sneak, though, goes wide in turn 1 and has contact with Kip coming out of exit 1 and falls down to 6th place, it looks like. Dip now has the lead. We have Happy Hippo and Kilbros going side by side down into the, I believe, turn 2. Still side by side, going up through the cutting. Happy Hippo takes the inside line and defends successfully. Going up the hill, we got Kip and Cecil Turtle side by side, up through turns 5 and 6. Oh, and Cecil Turtle is able to keep the position as they go through Frog Hollow up towards the skyline at the top of the mountain. Dinosaur remains in 7th place, almost clipping the wall there. Dip remains in 1st place. It looks like everyone making it through lap 1 scot-free. No damage. Oh, as I say that, Nixon picked up damage at some point in the opening lap. We're not sure exactly when he picked up damage, but it looks like he has damage to the front and the rear. Dinosaur picking up a position up on back from back marker racing. He's in 6th place now. Dinosaur making up some ground against Kip Dunkel. He's got the slipstream going down the mountain straight. He's going to be able to get alongside going into turn 2. He might. Oh, he gets deep in the braking zone, but Kip remains on the outside and touches the wall, and Dinosaur is able to take a position. Kip falls behind another position and another to sneak, so Kip falls down to 8th place. Turn 2 has a nasty outward camber on the outside of the turn, so if you find yourself stuck on the outside of turn 2, it's incredibly easy to understeer into the wall there. Happy Hippo is under attack by Cecil Turtle, going down into Forrest's elbow. Panorama is a race of attrition. You have to make it through the mountain section of the track. Oh, and Cecil Turtle makes the move onto Happy Hippo going into the chase. Brakes late and takes the inside. Very nice pass there by Cecil Turtle. Beautiful. So Dinosaur now attacking Happy Hippo. Happy Hippo hugs the inside line as he should to defend going into turn 2. Very smart decision by Happy Hippo there. He's gonna likely able to keep the inside. Again, the outside line at turn 2 being very precarious due to that off camber topography. Happy Hippo defends against Dinosaur quite well there, but he struggles a little bit to put the power down. Gives Dinosaur a window there. Dinosaur sneaks by, going into Frog Hollow. Some really good side-by-side racing here. I thought it was going to be extremely difficult for anyone to get any passing done through this section of the track, but it seems like there's some good racing happening still. Happy Hippo there struggling once again to get some exit grip, especially the Dipper. The Dipper is quite the change in elevation. Now Backmarker's got a good exit, potentially be able to attack Happy Hippo going down the chase. Might actually be able to get the pass done before then on the Conrad straight. Backmarker takes the outside line of turn 20, but turns into the inside line at the chase. Gets the braking done and is able to make the pass. Happy Hippo slides down into 6th place. Dinosaur's got a run on Dip. He takes the inside. Dip decides not to defend, and Dinosaur takes the inside there. Struggles just a little bit on the corner entry. Oh no, and Dip loses traction through the middle of the corner, likely due to the dirty air. That's an unfortunate incident there for Dip. He had a good run up through halfway of the race. Cars are quite challenging when racing very closely together, as the aerodynamics of the car ahead will drastically affect the traction and the downforce of the car that follows. So that spin that Dip had at turn 2 is very easy to do if you're following a car closely. Killer Pros is currently in first place as a... Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so Kip is in first, or Killer Pros is in first place. He's got a 3-second lead over Cecil Turtle. So both the minority drivers, Killer Pros and Backmarker Racing, currently sitting in a 1-4 position for the race. That would be a good result for the minority team. And Backmarker Racing sets the fastest lap, so we'll see if he gets a run on Dinosaur here. So the rest of the grid is relatively spread out. And Backmarker again sets the purple sector for his current lap. Backmarker there looking for a chance on Dinosaur. Dinosaur sticks to the inside line, going up through the Quarry corner. Again, another one of those corners where the inside line has significant more mechanical grip than the outside line. Backmarker, though, very close to Dinosaur, putting the pressure on. Doing a good job of keeping the car neat and tidy. Sticks to the inside line. Backmarker though, oh my god, Backmarker almost outbraked Dinosaur going into turn 21 at the chase. Looking for an opportunity to pass Dinosaur, and he gets alongside going into turn 23 and makes the pass. Backmarker Racing. Although Dinosaur now will get the slipstream going down the mountain straight. It seems like Backmarker has a higher top speed, so I suspect Backmarker is running a lower downforce setting. So Dinosaur might be able to catch up during the middle section of the track. We will see. So Cecil now still has about just under a 3-second gap to Killer Pros. Killer Pros doing a good job leading this race, setting the pace, keeping his car out front and out of trouble. And you can see Dinosaur's higher downforce setup being an advantage against Backmarker Racing through these sectors of the track. Getting very close to Backmarker Racing now. And we'll see if the slipstream will help him get an opportunity to pass Backmarker Racing, but I think Backmarker's lower downforce setting gives him a higher top speed, so I don't know if Dinosaur will be able to catch up down the Conrad Straight. So Cecil Turtle has closed the gap down to less than, or sorry, just over half a second. And we're coming down to the penultimate lap. Killer Pros feeling the pressure. Killer Pros had originally just under a 3-second lead, and now is finding himself under pressure by Cecil Turtle, but Killer Pros not backing down. He is opening the gap up just a little bit as we finish Sector 1 on this penultimate lap. This race being an incredibly difficult race. You're pushing the car at the limits, and any marginal error above that limit will get you into the walls and potentially end your race. Cecil Turtle there in the slipstream of Killer Pros. Gets his car in the grass and then goes on the inside, makes a huge dive down the inside. Let's see if we can catch that replay. I don't think we caught it. So Cecil Turtle now in the lead of the sprint race. Killer Pros probably kicking himself and leaving the door open. As to whether or not that applied with our passing guidelines, we'll see. I think that was potentially clean enough. Killer Pros now under attack by his teammate Backmarker going up the hill. Oh no, as I say that, he loses control through Quarry Corner. And Dinosaur now picks up the final podium position on the last lap. Backmarker still in 4th place. Shame to lose, or I guess I should say fortunate only lose 1 position on the final lap of the race. Killer Bros did an incredible job though with this race so far. In the lead for most of it, and could have kept the lead in my opinion if he defended a little bit more aggressively against Cecil Turtle. But 2nd place is an incredibly strong finish for Killer Pros. Cecil Turtle, though, is no joke. I think Cecil is currently 3rd in the championship standings, only below Riley, our championship winner, and Backmarker. So Cecil Turtle will cross the line in 1st place. Killer Pros will be 2nd. Dinosaur will be 3rd, finishing the final podium position. Backmarker Racing will limp over the line with that damage on the front left of the car. I think Backmarker had a realistic opportunity to finish in 2nd this race. Happy Hippo crosses the line in 6th. Dip with a relatively strong start to the race made that critical mistake going, I think it was through turn 2 when he was alongside Dinosaur and understeered off the track. And then finally Nixon will bring it home in 8th place for Team.com's McLaren. I should stop saying Team.com. It's not Team.com, but Team.com has been a presence in every one of our seasons. That's hard to say that, hard not to say it. So congratulations to Cecil for the win. So that will be it for the sprint race, and then we will hop into a 10-minute qualifying session for our feature race. We did lose Kip during the race, I think, though. Maybe Kip had a potential disconnect. I Yeah, not sure what happened there. I think Kip potentially had a disconnect during the race. All right, we're currently waiting for qualifying to get underway here. If you're new to LRC and you're watching our stream, we are the Learners Racing Collective. We're a group of just driving enthusiasts, racing enthusiasts. We have a Discord community. We primarily focus on learning and improving together and collaboratively. So it's a little different than most racing discords and league discords. A lot of our events are based around teamwork and cooperating together to win a championship. We also hold academy sessions as well. So if you're a beginner and you want to learn how to be faster, you want to learn how to improve your craft, your racecraft, we have a 6-week program that helps with understanding grip, mechanical grip, downforce, trail braking technique, just regular braking technique. So if you're interested in becoming faster in a very supportive environment, definitely check us out. I posted our Discord invite link in chat, so just click on that and you'll hop right into our Discord. Another one of our practices is that we have a sportsmanship license, so we require all members to secure their sportsmanship license before they enter in our official races like the league here. And our sportsmanship license just simply sets a bar around etiquette for passing and wheel-to-wheel racing to make sure everyone is courteous, but not too aggressive. And so those guidelines make the racing fun for everyone, keeps everything fair and also respectful as well. As you can see from our sprint race, the side-to-side racing was quite intense, but still very clean, especially through the twisty sections up the mountain. So something that you don't see every day in GT7, especially in online lobbies. So you want some clean racing, or you just want to be faster, or you just want an interesting group to hang out with and pal around with on track, definitely check us out. Did DLC used to be a church, the Church of Bibendum? No, we didn't used to be a church. No. So the Church of Bibendum was just an inside joke that kind of went a little too far. We've always been LRC from the start, basically since I think 2022 is when we started LRC. We started LRC in July of 2022. It was always LRC from the start, but as we started getting more and more into building the community, getting closer to each other, we started some inside jokes around the use of Bibendum and praying to Bibendum for grip. And then that turned into the Church of Bibendum. And now we have an AI bot in our Discord that is Bibendum, and he acts like he is a Lord King of LRC. Yeah. Yeah, Vergold, I'm surprised you didn't know that that's where that came from. or that it just kind of evolved from just an inside joke. Dinosaur is currently on our first hot lap, sending his car straight through the skyline. This very difficult braking section right before the dipper. Keeping it nice and tidy through Forest Elbow and now down through Conrod Street. Yeah, I think we started with the Church of Bibendum jokes around maybe just before you started joining, because season 1 and 2, I don't think we had the Church of Bibendum by then. I think it was the end of season 2, or maybe during season 2. I think I'm not exactly sure, but it actually came from Goron's server. So Little Goron was running Good Racing, which was a separate entity from ours at the time. And I think Bibendum was actually the inside joke there first before it became an inside joke at LRC. And then Good Racing became kind of folded into LRC. Yeah, and then that's when Oil Man made an appearance as well. So Kill Pros, our second place finisher from the sprint, currently sitting in second place. Technically not second place, the provisional second starting position on the grid for our feature race. Nixon put down a pretty strong time to put himself in provisional third starting position. Although Nixon currently right now on an out lap. Cecil Turtle currently on a hot lap. We'll see where Cecil Turtle puts his car at. So Dinosaur is currently sitting in provisional pole position. Turtle crosses the line and does not improve position, but improves his time. Only 1,000th of a second behind Nixon's time. That is insanely close. Dip Dunkel now crossing the line, only 12 thousandths of a second behind Happy Hippo, but improves and jumps ahead into the 5th starting position. Back Marker Racing having that little slip up in the Frog, I think it was Frog's Hollow during the sprint race, jumps into provisional pole position with a 152. No, that's not right. 149.038. And is now setting the purple sectors for his new lap. Looks like Sneak has a new set of racing soft tires and is heading out for another hot lap. Cecil Turtle looks like on a personal best or on target for a personal best. Braking hard down through the chase, keeping it nice and tidy on the exit. Approaches turn 23. Those racing soft tires, though, look like they're going to be not helpful after this lap. So Cecil Turtle improves by half a second, jumps up into third place with the third starting position from the grid, bumping Kilopros down to fourth and Nixon to fifth. So Nixon on another hot lap. Let's see if Nixon can improve his time. He does. He improves his time and position by nearly a second, jumping up into third position. Back marker sets a personal best from the provisional pole position. So back marker now nearly a second ahead of Dinosaur with a 1:48.687. So pretty impressive provisional pole position lap there by Backmarker Racing. Certainly a statement. I think the question will be whether or not Backmarker will be able to run the full length of the race, or as a matter of fact, anyone will be able to run the full length of the race without picking up damage. Again, Mount Panorama, is a race of attrition. It's one of those races where if you make the least amount of mistakes, you're more likely to be in those top podium finishing positions. So Happy Hippo crosses the line to start his final out lap. Sneak right now will potentially get another hot lap by finishing this one. So Sneak does not improve. Let's see here, who's finishing up the current lap right now. Dip going through turn 23, catches a little bit of grass on the exit. Improves though and jumps up into 8th place. Maybe not jumps up into 8th place. I think he did improve position though. Let's see here. Cecil Turtle will start an out lap. No, so Cecil Turtle will not start an out lap. Oh no, and Kilopros spun out there in the skyline. So Dinosaur now picked up damage on that front left. So Dinosaur at some point made a mistake, and this will likely not be Dinosaur's fastest lap. And then I think we have Happy Hippo there also with damage. So unlikely that Dinosaur or Happy Hippo will improve their times. We'll watch as Dinosaur brings this car home to end qualifying for our final round of the league for our Division 2. Are taking his time, and I think that will be it. I think we are now finished with the cars on track and just waiting for the post-qualifying countdown to finish. So the advantage Backmarker will have going into this race is that he won't need to follow any car going down the track, which is a huge advantage for Mount Panorama. The question is that back marker will have to get a good start. So the grid start will be very important to the... Okay, something happened with my stream here. I think my game froze. Or maybe the lobby crashed for everyone? Yeah, I need to confirm here with Dinosaur. All right, we'll be right back as we figure this out. So stick with us, and don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back. I think that was just an issue on my end, potentially. I don't know what happened there. I think my game crashed or something, so... We're now back in the lobby. Dinosaur has reset the lobby and will now set the grid manually. And then we'll get underway very shortly here for the feature race of our Division 2. I think as I was saying earlier, the grid start here is going to be the most important aspect of this opening lap, as track position will be the sole determiner basically of how well you do, aside from limiting and mitigating mistakes. So you are in the lead going into turn 2. You are going to be likely in the lead by the time you exit Forest Elbow and going down the Conrad Straight. Seeing that it's very difficult to follow closely behind the car in front of you due to the loss of downforce through the twisty sections of the mountain. And it's extremely costly to make a mistake there. So if you are affected by the loss of downforce, it's easy to understeer into a barrier and have your entire race completely ruined. So you have to take it quite easily, especially with cold tires on this first lap. So gaining that first position off the start would be absolutely critical for who is ever starting second place, which is, I think, Dinosaur. And it's a slight advantage to be starting on the inside line as well. So if Dinosaur gets a pretty good run into turn 1 from the inside line, he might have a chance to take the lead. But the downside though is that the inside line of turn 1 turns into the outside line of turn 2. And as I was talking about earlier, turn 2, the outside line is atrocious due to the outward camber and the sort of like topography of the crest that the track has in the middle of the road. So would I start on first or second gear on the grid start? That's a tough one. I'm not sure. I haven't really tested this car much, but this car responds well to shifting early out of corners. And I don't know. I think maybe starting in second might have an advantage going into turn 1 because you might not have to make that shift before turn 1. And the shifts are pretty slow in this car and you lose quite a bit of time. So if you're upshifting, you're going to lose a little bit of momentum, potentially enough for someone to get alongside you going into turn 1. So we will see. We will see how this plays out. So Dinosaur is telling me we got a teammate coming in for our race here. We got Fatigue joining us for the feature race. I think since it's Cecil's teammate, Fatigue will be racing for Footwork Mugen. Take a quick commentator's break before we get started here. It looks like we're still figuring out the grid position. Again, thanks for joining our stream. We are LRC, or Learners Racing Collective. If you're enjoying GT7, you're new to the game, definitely feel free to check out our Academy program. We're currently week 3 of 6 weeks of our program, and it's a continuously running program, so once it's done, we'll start over and do it again. For anyone who wants to join, this week we'll be focused on cornering fundamentals, especially around, or sorry, in particular around cornering fundamentals between corner complexes where multiple corners are attached to each other and require very specific compromise in the entrance of one corner to get a better exit in another. So if you're interested in learning with us in a collaborative and supportive environment, definitely check us out. Click on that invite link that's pinned in chat. You'll hop into our Discord and I can direct you from there. The Academy is typically aimed towards beginners, but I think a lot of our intermediate and even experienced drivers find these Academy sessions quite valuable to brush up on their fundamentals. You know, there's a question I haven't posed in chat for a while, but at the beginning of like season 1, I was asking about favorite candy bars. And I'm curious to see what you guys think, what your favorite candy bars are. There's been a very clear bias towards like a few last time I asked this. What is Coffee Crisp? I've never heard of that before. All right, Dinosaur's giving us the 1-minute warning, and we'll get underway here very shortly. The Reese's Peanut Butter Cup has been a very popular one amongst people. All right, so we got the race underway. We're going to join the track right now. So back marker racing. Okay, so back marker racing actually starts on the inside. The Dinosaur starts on the outside. But they are alongside. There's no advantage from starting first or second. We have our 5 lights. The lights go out and the action starts now. Dinosaur gets a very, very quick start there on the beginning and takes first position. Backmarker is under threat there. Cecil Turtle bumps into Nixon coming out of turn 1. We'll likely see that being reviewed at the end of the race, likely. But Dinosaur there with an incredibly fast start on the lights out section of the Dinosaur gets it's really, really quick start. Nixon gets in between Kip, and I think it was Kip and someone else, and then gets bumped by Cecil Turtle. It's an unfortunate situation there by Nixon. Luckily, Nixon did not pick up any damage from that incident. So right now, Dinosaur leading the race. Sorry, can you guys hear me now? It should be better now. So Dinosaur leading the race now, with Backmarker now in second place, Cecil Turtle in third. Let's see if we can rewatch the beginning here from Cecil's point of view. So there you go. Cecil comes in here, and then so Cecil gets bumped. So okay, that's interesting. So I think Cecil gets bumped by someone. I think it might have been Happy Hippo. Yeah, so interesting. So Happy Hippo bumps Cecil there. Cecil bumps into Nixon. The Hippo jumps into the pits with some damage there. Kip as well. Nixon picks up damage as well, jumps into the pit lane, and does sneak. I wonder if there was maybe an incident that happened in the last lap. Maybe they all made a mistake. Cecil Turtle there was lucky to not have picked up any damage after being bumped by Happy Hippo and then bumping into, oh no, and Backmarker Racing loses control going into the Forest Elbow and picks up damage. So Cecil Turtle now in second place, Killer Pros in a solid third, and Fatigue, our newcomer here with his debut at LRC, currently sitting in fourth place from starting at the back of the grid. So Fatigue putting in some work for Footwork Mugen. Backmarker Racing jumps into the pits to fix the damage. Hops back out into sixth place. So let's take a look at potential strategies here. So Kill Pros on the racing medium tires, Dinosaur on the soft. So I think that's why Dinosaur was able to jump on the start so quickly. He had a softer tire compound. Cecil Turtle is on the mediums and Killer Pros on the mediums as well. So Dinosaur, they're trying to pull out an early lead by using the racing soft tires. And Fatigue also on the racing mediums. Dip, Dunkel also on the mediums. So our top five, all mediums with the exception of Dinosaur. Backmarker Racing mediums. It seems like everyone else. So Happy Hippo though is on the racing hard tires. Sneak on mediums and Nixon on the mediums as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Dinosaur's strategy plays out. If he sticks to softs for the majority of the race, or if he will jump to mediums or hards in any of these stints. Pretty interesting strategy. I feel like softs in general are a tire that will last very long, but I guess using the softs will give you potentially 1 to 1.5 seconds per lap over the mediums. Yeah, the softs could last longer too because it's not particularly warm out, it looks like. Track temperature could be lower. I think also if you potentially anticipate, so it's, I don't know if he formulated the strategy around the possibility of picking up damage, but if, for instance, like you have to make more frequent pit stops because of damage, you might as well be running the soft tires anyway. So that could be a consideration as well. So that rear left tire feeling the heat getting worn down quite a bit. I'd say both rear tires doing a lot of wear. I'd say Dinosaur probably has at most 2 laps on those. Nixon has picked up damage once again on that front left. Nixon not having a great time here at Mount Panorama. So Dinosaur jumping into the pit lane. Cecil Turtle will take the lead with quite a bit of tire life left, so it's going to be interesting how the strategies will converge towards the end of the race. So Dinosaur comes out in 4th place with another set of racing soft tires. Very interesting. I like it. I like to see different strategies. I think a couple seasons ago we saw Stoles win on an interesting soft tire strategy at Mount Panorama as well. So we will see if Dinosaur can put these softs to good use on track. He'll have to make the passes on track, which will be the challenge. I think having a faster tire compound in the twisty sections of the track make it way more still difficult to make the pass, but there is the Conrad Straight, so I think if you can get better exits out of Forest Elbow, you'll be able to make the pass before you get to the chase, which I believe Dinosaur might be able to do here. not able to get enough overlap there. So this is the danger of Dinosaur's strategy, is that he loses track position and will be losing time overall in his strategy by having to make the pass on other cars on the track. So Fatigue holds the inside line there, and Dinosaur gets alongside of Fatigue. Will he get enough space there to go into the corner? And he does. He makes it stick, so Dinosaur jumps up into third place. So Killpros is next, and not too far ahead of Dinosaur. But Cecil Turtle, though, is a whole 8.5 seconds ahead of Dinosaur. So Dinosaur, again, losing time here behind Killpros in these twisty sections and up the mountain. He likely won't have to. He likely won't be able to make a pass until he gets to Force Elbow. By then, he'll have lost probably a couple of seconds to Cecil Turtle, currently in the lead. Dinosaur gets a good exit though, and will be able to make the pass on Killpros very easily going down the Conrad Straight. So Dinosaur now has to chase down Cecil Turtle. Dinosaur, though, keeping the pressure on, doing a really good job of making these passes on track, being incredibly patient through the difficult sections of the track to pass, and then waiting to get onto either the Mountain Straight or the Conrad Straight to make the pass. So props to Dinosaur there with really good patience on track. You can see he's already closed down Cecil about a second just off of that one lap after he cleared, not even one lap, it's half a lap after he cleared Killpros. Fatigue has caught up to Killpros. Will be getting the slipstream down the Conrad Straight, and he's going to get close here. Killpros stays on the outside of the turn, but is easily passed by Fatigue there. The difference in speed pretty drastic. Oh, and we see Killpros there with damage on that front left, but Fatigue makes a mistake, and Killpros continues the battle here. Looking on the inside there, taking a little peek at turn 23. The damage, though, severely limiting Killpros' top speed. It won't be likely he will be able to continue battling Fatigue for that final podium position. So Killpros now has to worry about back marker racing. Even though a whole 13 seconds behind, when you have damage like that, you lose quite a bit of time every lap. So potentially a second and a half every lap. So Killpros is going to have to manage the rest of this race quite well to make sure he stays in the top 5. Dinosaur has now closed the gap down to 6 seconds those tires, though, not looking great. Cecil Turtle will also have to make a pit stop soon, so it's interesting. Dinosaur might be proving that the pit lane delta might be short enough to run as many soft tire compounds as possible and just simply be faster on track. I think the key for Dinosaur here is to make the passes on track as quick as possible, but also when he pits, to hope that he gets out into clean air. And now as Cecil's racing medium tires become worn out, he will have a much more difficult time relative to Dinosaur in the in-laps of their strategy. So very, very interesting things unfolding here between Dinosaur and Cecil for the lead of this race. Made a pit stop, came back out in 5th place with a set of racing hard tires, kept struggling to keep up there, getting 2 tires in the grass, heading into the dipper. Sneak there with damage on the front left, and then dip on those soft tires, although those rears getting really, really sketchy. So both of our leaders jump into the pit lane. Killer Pros decides to stay out. And Backmarker Racing continuing his stint of racing mediums. So Cecil Turtle jumps out with racing softs. So Cecil Turtle makes the decision to switch to softs. And then now Dinosaur has switched to mediums. So the roles have been reversed. And we'll see how this plays out. I wonder if Cecil Turtle saw Dinosaur's strategy unfolding and thinking that might actually be the better strategy, but then now Dinosaur thinks that the mediums is the better strategy and switched to the mediums. Or it could just be as simple as that they're both decided to use their option tire as part of the regulation for the series to fulfill that requirement for the rest of the race. And maybe Dinosaur might go back to the racing soft tires after this. We'll see. But Cecil will be able to open up a gap in this next stint, but it will be short-lived because he'll have to make another pit stop. Backmarker Racing catching up to Killer Pros, his teammate. I suspect they will have team orders or team communication to swap positions, considering Killer Pros has damage and will be essentially limited by the top speed. So Killer Pros jumps into the pits, likely change tires and fix the damage. So at least he was able to finish out the stint. Fatigue still on racing hard tires and is caught up by Kip Dunkel, who is on a pretty worn down set of medium tires. So Cecil Turtle trying to continue to open up the gap, now at 6 seconds. Not much of a change though. So Cecil, I think, was around 5.5 seconds ahead of Dinosaur when he left the pits. So back marker picked up damage on the first lap and then had to make a pit stop and is now on the racing medium tires that he swapped out and is currently running in 3rd position. Yeah, back markers started on the medium tires and then Dinosaur started on the soft. So Dinosaur got the jump on back marker on the in turn 1, and then towards the upper section of the mountain, I think back marker spun out and then lost a few positions, and then also I think hit the wall. So technically back marker is trying to play catch up. So back marker did have the fastest pace during qualifying, so even though back marker made that mistake, he might still be able to win the race in an offset strategy. I think his qualifying lap was nearly a second faster than Dinosaur, so we'll see if back marker can make up the time throughout the rest of this race. Fatigue is catching up to back marker here. Back marker on cold tires, probably trying to warm those racing hearts up to get the speed. Fatigue trying to take advantage of that. Fatigue has closed the gap down to under 1 second, but also has to watch out for Kilopros behind, who is also looking to take that final podium position away. Although back marker racing and Kilopros being on the same team, they likely won't fight as aggressively as Fatigue will for the position. So we'll see how that plays out. Kilopros there looking for an opportunity. Breaks alongside Fatigue there to turn 1. Leaves some room, but doesn't get a clean exit. Fatigue now has the slipstream and will be able to potentially take the fight to Kilopros going into turn 2. You can see they're accelerating quite a bit, taking a peek at the inside line, but doesn't have the overlap to justify racing room going into turn 2. So Fatigue backs out for the moment. Kilopro is distracted by the battle with Fatigue there a little bit, but now can focus on potentially attacking his teammate back marker. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. GoPro's getting a little squirrely at the exit of the dipper. So Cecil Turtle made a pit stop, comes out in second place. Dinosaur now has a just under a 6-second lead against Cecil Turtle. Cecil Turtle now on the racing mediums. So it looks like Cecil will likely be on the mediums potentially till the end of the race, I believe. Maybe Dinosaur will also try to go to the end here. I don't know if that would be it seems unlikely. Dinosaur's rear tires, they're looking to be pretty much halfway done. But when they're visually halfway at the halfway meter mark, they deplete much faster than they would at the beginning, just simply due to the less grip that happens as you deplete your tires. So I think Dinosaur will have to make potentially one more pit stop, and I think he might switch back to the soft tires. So, oh man, it's gonna be a pretty interesting battle here between the two in the closing stages of this race. And backmarker as well. So if backmarker can go to the end of this race on the hard tires, he will be contending for the race win as well. Because I think the lap time, I think the delta for the pit stop is somewhere along the lines of 20 seconds, maybe 20 to 15 seconds. Yeah, we will see. This will be an interesting conclusion to the final race of the season for Division 2. So Fatigue is currently sitting in 5th place. Kip Dunkel in 6th. Happy Hippo in 7th currently. And then Sneak in 8th. We've lost, I believe, Nixon at some point in the race. And I think we've also lost Dip Dunkel as well. Thank you for following We Evil Nation. We are Learners Racing Collective. Feel free to join us on Discord. The invite link is posted on chat, or I should say pinned in chat. We're currently at round 7 of season 6 of the league. This is our final round of the season. We've got 28 drivers split between 2 divisions, 14 each. And then each of the 28 drivers are split amongst 4 teams. So 4 drivers per team. We take a very different approach to league racing in GT7, or in general for sim racing. LRC is all about a collaborative and supportive approach to learning and getting better and competing. And so our leagues typically are formed with teams competing with each other as opposed to individual drivers. Although we do have the individual drivers championships, the team is the most important. So Cecil Turtle closing the gap down to Dinosaur, just under 4 seconds. The Dinosaur's tires there looking not the best so far. He's going to have to make one more pit stop, I think. I think he's going to switch over to racing softs in the final stint. We'll see how long he can last with the current set of tires, but if Cecil can make the rest of the race on those mediums, it's going to look good for Cecil Turtle because he won't have to make another pit stop. Dinosaur having to make one more pit stop, even though on racing soft tires we'll have to climb all the way back up, potentially 15 seconds or so on track alone to contend for this win. So Cecil Turtle looking pretty good so far. And as I say, oh my god, as I say that, he picks up damage on the front left. And now the tables have turned. He's going to be losing like 1.5 seconds, maybe to 2 seconds per lap due to that damage. Backmarker Racing wasn't able to make up any time on Dinosaur. So this is going to be really interesting the way this race is going to end. If Cecil Turtle cannot, if he cannot keep gaining on Dinosaur and doesn't hit to fix his damage, there's a chance that Dinosaur may be able to come back and win this race. Things have gotten extremely interesting now. And then if Cecil Turtle jumps into the pits to fix the damage and then change tires, he's still going to be behind Dinosaur because Dinosaur is going to have to do the same thing. I feel like maybe the only way Cecil could potentially win this now is to stay out and hope that he can continue continue putting down strong laps even with the damage, or pit to fix the damage but not change tires to save 5 seconds. So this is extremely difficult situation for Backmarker Racing. Or sorry, not Backmarker Racing, for Cecil Turtle. Yeah, we got a race on now. Well, the Cecil Turtle is doing a pretty good job of keeping the pace up. Still keeping that gap at 3 seconds. Dinosaur not having the best laps due to those really worn tires in the rears. And he's actually gaining down the straight, which is interesting. So the damage not affecting Cecil's laps too badly. So I believe Dinosaur will be pitting this lap. Yep, Dinosaur pits this lap. We will see the delta when Dinosaur comes out. So Cecil Turtle passing turn 1. Dinosaur now still waiting to get to the pit box. It's a long pit stop, so I don't know. It's going to be a lot of time to make up. And considering Cecil was doing pretty well actually with the laps, even with the damage. But more importantly, Dinosaur has come out in front of Backmarker Racing, so Dinosaur has cleared Backmarker for the second place position. Now Dinosaur has to make up 12 seconds in the next 5 laps to be able to beat Cecil Turtle. This is going to be a tall order for Dinosaur. I thought the damage was going to influence Cecil Turtle's times a lot more than it actually did, so he's only losing about, I don't know, I was going to say about a second, but in this lap here, he's losing a little bit more than that. We'll see when he completes the lap to see how much time he's lost. But we can see in his last lap, he did a 133.6, and the lap previous to that was a 152.9. So his lap times are climbing. If Dinosaur can do a 150, mid 150s for the next 4 laps, you will be able to, 5 laps, you will be able to bring that down pretty close to 10 seconds, which is what the current delta is. It's going to come down to the wire. Dinosaur cannot make any mistakes. Cecil Turtle cannot make any mistakes for the rest of this race. It's going to be close. So what's also interesting is Cecil Turtle will end up in traffic. So there is Sneeg and Happy Hippo just ahead of him. And it might be problematic for Cecil Turtle once he gets there. What's going on, Loogie? We're going to have a close conclusion to this race between Dinosaur and Cecil Turtle. So Dinosaur did a 153, it says here, on his last lap, but now he has set a purple sector, so he's going to close down extremely quickly to Cecil in the next 3 laps. He's going to basically be on Cecil on the final, like basically on Cecil's rear and the final lap of this race, but he's gonna have to make the overtake on track. Oh, this is gonna be extremely, extremely close. Cecil Turtle being extremely consistent this entire season is now finding himself with damage and having to do as best as he can to the end of this race. So he is doing a 153.6 consistently in the last 3 laps, but Dinosaur is in the 150s now and has closed the gap down to just over 5 seconds. And there are 3 laps to go. Oh my God, we're gonna have a race here. So backmarker jumps into the pit lane, jumps back out just behind Killapros actually. Killapros also pitted, I think, a few laps earlier, is now in 3rd place, has made the undercut against Backmarker Racing, is now sitting in 3rd place. So props to Killapros there with the undercut. Oh man, and our gap has closed down to 3.5 seconds. Oh, Cecil Turtle is now feeling the heat. And those tires aren't going to be doing Cecil Turtle any favor. And he's now finding himself having to get around Sneak. Sneak there gets out of the way. Thank you, Sneak, for allowing this race to continue. Cecil Turtle needs as much as help as he can get right now. We are now on the penultimate lap. Oh my goodness. And now the gap is closed down to 3 seconds. We've seen that Dinosaur has been able to be around 3 to 2 seconds faster than Cecil Turtle. We'll see if he can keep it up for this lap as well, though those... Oh, so Dinosaur has picked up damage too? Oh my goodness. That's so unfortunate. Dinosaur has picked up damage on the front right. That could potentially end Dinosaur's chances here to beat Cecil Turtle. We'll see, though. He's still closing the gap quite a bit. I think Sneak here will jump out of the way for Dinosaur here. We'll see. Sneak is proving it to be pretty difficult there for Dinosaur. Dinosaur loses a couple seconds, and I don't know if he'll be able to make that up in the closing laps. We'll see. It's an unfortunate situation there for Dinosaur to having to pick up damage, and I think Cecil Turtle may have this. He just needs to keep it clean and just manage one more clean lap to win this race. I think Dinosaur, it's unfortunate we didn't get to see this play out until the last lap, but I think that would have been an amazing battle if Dinosaur hadn't picked up damage there. I think, unfortunately, having to pass Sneak there during the twisty section of the track as well was an unfortunate situation. Not much Dinosaur could do about that one. So Backmarker Racing has gotten around Killapros. Killapros must have picked up damage somewhere in the mountain section due to a mistake, potentially. Fatigue on the very last bits of life of those racing hard tires. And so is Kip Dunkel. I was going to say that Kip may have had a chance to pass Fatigue on the final closing, or the final lap. but I think Kip will have a hard time, especially with those tires. So now the advantage has now been equalized between Cecil, Turtle, and Dinosaur. Cecil on his way to winning the final race of the season. I think this will be Cecil Turtle's first win in the league at LRC. And props to Cecil Turtle for a very consistent race. Had one mistake that almost cost him the race. Luckily, Dinosaur made the same mistake, just mirroring the opposite side of the car. Dinosaur there having to push and give everything he had to make up that time in the closing stages of the race. So Cecil will go through the chase one last time. There we go. We have our winner of our Division 2 feature race, Cecil Turtle, with a very consistent race. Only a second and a half ahead of Dinosaur. Backmarker Racing will bring it home in third place. But we'll try not to speak too soon. Backmarker Racing going through turn 23 one last time. Bringing home for Minority Racing. A 3-4 finish for Minority. Killer Pros crossing the line in fourth place. Fatigue there, barely keeping those tires alive. Crosses in fifth place. A nice top 5 finish for a debut race for Fatigue. Kip Dunkel there struggling with those rear tires. Very gingerly exiting the final corner of the track to cross the line in sixth place. And then we got Happy Hippo coming down to the chase for the last time. And we'll finish in 7th place due to Sneak being already done with his race after being a lap down by the leader. Happy Hippo will bring it home in 7th place for Lotus. All right, so there you have it. Our final race results: Cecil Turtle winning the race, Dinosaur in second, Backmarker with the fastest lap in third, Killer Pros in fourth, Fatigue in fifth, Kip Dunkel and Happy Hippo 6th and 7th, and then finally Sneak in 8th place. That being said, that concludes our Division 2 racing for the season. So big props to our Division 2 drivers. Way to keep it clean and competitive throughout the entire season. You guys did an incredible job, so congratulations to you guys. Give yourselves a big pat on the back for that. It's been a pleasure for you guys and all the substitutes as well to race in Division 2 for Season 6, and we hope to see you come back for Season 7. With that being said, thanks for watching our Division 2 race, and to hang tight, we're going to take a quick break, restart the stream, and then get on to our Division 1 race for the final round of Season 6. So hang tight.